wanna ride. So baby, get with me, 'cause this party goes on all night. You never get this right, 'cause when you're rolling with a G, 'cause this party goes on all night.
Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome to the Real Source Podcast, and I'm your host, JD, where we discuss real life, real issues, and we don't duck uncomfortable conversations. And today's episode 16, which is a very, very disturbing topic. Today's episode 16 is based on a man going to prison for molesting his daughter. Now, before I get into the gist of this situation that had happened, I want to express how important it is that when you're a parent and what guidelines fall under being a parent, things that you have to learn as you go along. You know, when you have a child, your number one priority is to make sure that your child is in good care and it has safety and shelter and food and all the necessary things. And more importantly, besides all those other things, the main thing should be love. Okay? So with this topic regarding this father who molested, I can't even say the word because it breaks me up just doing it, molested his daughter, basically is in prison and is fighting to try to get an early release. Now, the audacity of this individual and the fact that he would even ponder such a thing tells you right there that this individual is all messed up. Their framework and their wiring is completely destroyed in their brain. For you to molest your daughter, let alone, and then to have the nerve to ask for an early release date because you know what they're going to do to your ass in jail. See, that's the one thing about brothers in jail. They could murder somebody, they could sell drugs, but when it comes to kids and it comes to messing with kids, that don't go too good in jail. That usually don't work out too good for the abusers, the sexual abusers and the sexual offenders. So, I get stuck because the ignorance and the demonic level that people will go to, sometimes there's not words that can even describe. You know, sometimes it's just physical action. You know, I just want to tear somebody apart when they do something like that, you know, and you got to take into consideration that this child has probably been experiencing this for a long time. And the mother probably knows, okay? And probably, and if you've seen the way the mom looks and the way she speaks, you know, you would make your own assessment. You would make your own assessment.
Yeah, that's sick because he was driving around in the car while she was doing oral sex on him.
Driving in the car, so you got the kid giving you fellatio while you got your foot to the pedal.
That's sick.
And you're probably listening to some real ignorant music while you're doing that. You know, it's just so, bro, it's so inhumane. You know, and the thing that bothers me is this happens across the world. We're all different type of ethnic people. It just happens to be one of our own that did this, you know, an African-American man. And, you know, somebody like that should be dead, okay? Should be dead. You shouldn't be given the opportunity to get out of prison or anything like that. You should be given the electric chair or, you know, and I have a very torturous mind. You know, I would do something very torturous to you, you know, put a whole bunch of damn honey on you and put you in a field of killer bees or something like that and let you get stung till you fucking blow up to pus from the pus that's inside of you. I mean, this is ridiculous. This child is going to be forever destroyed from this. The fact that she may not even be comfortable riding in cars anymore because her father put her in the car with her and had her give him oral sex while he was driving the car. Like, that's something that dudes do with their wives or their girlfriends or with the freak that they just met. To do that with your daughter? Man. So, you know, we got a lot more. The second segment, we'll be getting into that soon. But the fact that somebody would be willing to do that shows that they have serious issues, serious mental issues, and that the mother has serious mental issues. And, well, wait until we get into the second half, and then you're going to see what I'm going to say. We'll be right back.
Yo, check the mic 1 2. It's the real source, ain't no faking or bluff. JD on the mic, keeping it real, never bluff. We ain't backing down, nah, not on any topic. From relationships to politics, we drop knowledge, ain't no stopping. Sports, health, business, financial literacy too. We break it down, make it plain, for me and for you. No fluff, just facts, that's how we roll. So tune in, turn up, and let your mind grow. Yeah, the real source, where the truth is told.
So this is segment 2, y'all. And this segment revolves around the mother advocating for his early release. Now, this brother was on a Zoom call in the court system, and he's sitting up there looking into the camera saying, I know what I did was wrong. You know, what I did to my daughter was not what a father should be doing with their child. And, you know, I hope that I can get rehabilitation to make me a better person, you know, and that they would give me an early release date. You know, the fact that you sit here and you say you knew what you did was wrong and that you're fighting for an early release date because of what you did, and let alone, this is the real kicker for me. The mother, who was also fighting for his early release date, got up on a Zoom call on video. And if you see this woman, I'm a pretty good judgment of character. And you look at this woman and she looks sloppy. She looks like she is not a good mother. Her body language, everything about this woman screams to me inappropriate parent. She's sitting up there talking about, well, he knows what he did was wrong and he apologized and he's sincere. And you know when someone is sincere, and me and my daughter, we both accept his first. All right, now I'm going to get into this motherfucker. Okay. The daughter accepted his apology. You got to have some motherfucking nerve to say something on a video like that involving your kid, and you're okay with that. You're okay that this man sexually abused your daughter, which is both of your daughters, and you're going to sit up there and say, oh, because he looked sincere and he sounded sincere, that I know he really meant it and that he apologized and that he's going to get the rehabilitation and become a better person. Listen, let me say this quite clear. There's no rehabilitation for a motherfucker like that, okay? No rehabilitation whatsoever. And the fact that the mother is advocating it, there's something wrong with that lady too. So we're going to give you a closer step to the edge of where this case goes. So the father, again, is asking for early release. So is the mother, right? Guess what the judge does? He grants him an early release. Now, this goes to show you how our system, corrupt, thank you, brother, for correcting me. Our corrupt system allows people like this to get away with the stuff that they get away with no repercussions. So you sending this person out back into the world to go and probably do the same thing, if not to that same little girl or to someone else's daughter. Like, he should be in jail. He should be tortured in jail. You know, like I was telling my brother off camera, I throw a whole bunch of pure honey on this brother, and I let him sit in a field full of killer bees, and I let the killer bees tear his ass apart. What you think, brother? Well, you got something to say?
Well, I think that he should get life in prison. I think the mother should go to jail, and I think the judge should be removed from the bar.
I completely concur with that. I think all three of their asses should be thrown in jail. I think all three of their asses should be thrown in jail in the same cell. And think about exactly what the fuck y'all did. How you okayed him getting out on an early release. You know, people, we got to take a certain level of accountability. Those of us that have a sense and have an awareness of things. And one of the things is when you have a child, you want to provide a safe haven for your child. And whether it's father, mother, that is your job as a parent. So when you got two individuals that are as screwed up as they are, and then you got somebody in the courtroom, the judge, who has a doctrine to allow this man to walk away, like I use one of the words that my white homie loves to use a lot, and we're pretty familiar with it: flabbergasted. I'm beyond flabbergasted. There's really no word that could describe the feeling that I feel right now speaking about this topic, because it's happening so much. It's happening in Hollywood. It's happening in all different facets of whatever it is that you can see and is the unseen. Sometimes it's blatant right in the face. And this man to sit up there and we didn't post the video, but if you see the video of this brother, his eyes are fluttering. He could barely look straight in the camera. It looks like he was told to say this as like a last attempt to get an early release. Your ass should be in jail for the rest of your life. And so should your wife. And so should the judge. And the fact that the corrupt system that we have in this corporation of a country named America or the United States goes to show you how the system really, really works for the advantage for what is opposite of doing justice. See, if we keep more criminals out there, we get more money. We get money for every criminal that we have. So let's let him go back out into the world. Let's let him create more chaos. Let's let him destroy another young child. Because what that does is it destroys the future. It destroys children, which is our future. And if we don't change the way we are right now, children will not have a future that will be a good future. And it just boggles me to know that the judge was okay with releasing this man. So, we're going to wrap it up, give you one more, and we'll be right back.
You're not happy with your t-shirt order? No problem. We print on customer-supplied shirts too. At Reload Graphics, we bring your ideas to life with vibrant, high-quality printing. Whether it's one shirt or 100, your brand will look its best. Trust us to handle the printing, so you can focus on making an impact. Reload Graphics, where we bring your ideas to life.
So yeah, I'm gonna touch up on this topic a little bit more regarding my personal feel to this. Children is a very precious thing. They're very precious. They require a lot of change in a person, to become a parent, and the fact that this kind of stuff is going on every day in the world, and you don't hear about it because it's kind of suppressed for the most part. And then when you hear a story like this, or you see, like we did, seeing the video, and it makes you realize that a lot of what's going on in society today is because of bad parenting. Bad people who become parents, who therefore are bad who are bad at parenting. And there's people out there, that I have people that I know all across that have daughters. I got a young girl that I work with, and I look at her like she's a little sister. She's a pretty girl, and you should see there's some older dudes that be trying to holler at her. And I'll have a conversation with her, and she's very smart. So, when I discuss this with her, she's like, I don't know why they like, and I said, you do the right thing by just ignoring them, but what about the child that can't do that is stuck in the house with this individual, that this individual is supposed to be their parent, and I say this to all the fathers out there. If you have daughters, if you don't have a conscience for every time you look at a young woman and you look at her with a look of sexual desire and you have a daughter, just remind yourself that you have a daughter. Just remind yourself that that's someone else's child, and you wouldn't want someone else to be looking at your daughter or do something like that to your daughter that has been done to this young girl. If you don't want the kids, man, give the kids away. Give them to somebody. There's communities, there's services, there's relatives. You could go just as close as relatives. And some people don't have relatives, but there's other environments that this kid or child could be a part of, where they could flourish. When you take away the innocence of a child, they're never the same again. They're never the same again, especially as being an adult and you do it. It's different. Kids played around with each other when you're little. You touch each other, you experiment. That's something completely different when you're children. But as a grown-ass man, or as my grandmother would say, as a grown, rusty-ass foot man, that you would do something like that. Me personally, I'd beat the shit out of you. I'd beat the shit out of you. I'd want to be locked in a room with you alone, and I'd beat the shit out of you. And as I'm beating the shit out of you, I'd be telling you every time I'm beating the shit out of you, this is what you get. This is what you get. This is what you're going to keep getting. So what disturbs me in our community, in today's society, to add to this, is we don't have people in the neighborhood that look out for the kids like they did when we was growing up. If we had more of that, there would be more people that would be able to see or observe or have more insight, rather, on how the dynamics are between families and their children. Back in the day when we was growing up, Auntie Taisha or whoever it was that was sitting on the block, she didn't have to be the aunt. But my mama knew her. My daddy knew her. We all knew each other. If you was doing something crazy or you was around someone that didn't look like you should be around, they pull you to the side. What you doing? You all right? Who that? That's with you. I ain't never seen that person around here before. There would be more. We become segregated so far from each other that you can't even see what's right in front of your eyes. And for the mothers out there, if you're with a man and you see that this man is showing you weird tendencies when he's around your kid, you drop his ass. Whether he's the father, the boyfriend, friend of yours, I don't care what it is. Okay? We got to start taking some accountability, and we got to start being responsible for our children. And if we're not going to be responsible for our children, we're only going to create a Hellenistic world, which it already is, to a degree that kids won't ever come back. They won't ever be themselves. They won't know what it is to be a child. They'll be grown by the time they're 10. So we got to stop the nonsense, and we got to start putting these people away for the injustices and the crimes that they're committing. Up next, Did you know? Don't go nowhere.
Alfred L. Krill was born in Kinbridge, Virginia in 1866, just after the end of the American Civil War. As a young man, he worked with his father in the carpentry trade. However, his interest was in mechanics. He was sent to Washington, D.C., where he attended Wayland Seminary, one of a number of schools founded by the American Baptist Home Mission Society to help educate African Americans after the Civil War. He then settled in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he first served as a porter in a drugstore and at a hotel. Alfred noticed that the servers at the hotel had trouble with ice cream sticking to serving spoons, and he developed what we know today as the ice cream scoop. On June 10, 1896, Krill applied for a patent on his invention. He was awarded a patent February 2, 1897. The patent ice cream mold and disher was an ice cream scoop with a built-in scraper to allow for one-handed operation. Alfred's functional design is reflected in modern ice cream scoops. He later became a general manager for the Afro-American Financial Accumulating Merchandise and Business Association. On September 20, 1900, he married Elizabeth Krill, with whom he had 3 children. Krill died from a car wreck on May 6, 1919, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Thank you for tuning into the Real Source Podcast. I'm your host, JD. If you like the show, please share with a friend and subscribe to us at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. Be kind, be well, be safe. I'm out.
You never get it right, is when you're rolling with a G. Cause this party goes on all night, all night, all night. Cause this party goes on all night.
This is classical, feeling is magical. Anything other than this is unimaginable. Just living the dream, fantasies is being played out. Deja vu, reenacting the scene. Calculate, add the numbers up, money is clean. Directive is the same, keep a positive team. Let's get together, all walk with a lean. Good impression felt and left, never acting obscene. We could poly to the early morn, drinking the brew. But we could take liquor shots, reminisce with the crew. Palette in many and the flavors is so tasteful. Educate with proper etiquette is so graceful. Grew up around ghetto streets but not hateful. Had a balance in my life growing up youthful. Children of a different tune, keep it all playful. Let the music come and grab you and it won't escape you.